Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Just kidding. Do you know that reference?
I do know that reference, and it's actually really real because she actually stole the podcast and mastering rights of this podcast from underneath me. You have something to say about that, Jess?
What? I don't even understand. Did I ruin it?
She signed a contract with a business behind my back, and now she owns the rights to this podcast. Can you believe it, everyone?
Okay, so to start,
Yes.
do you wanna
Yeah, sure.
introduce
We'll just
your song?
we're just yeah.
Okay, we love it. You can check out Fenmore on Spotify. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, so Fenmore.
Talking about Spotify, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Oh, no, we'll talk about it right now. No, we'll talk about it in a few minutes. Let's start with something exceptional that Jess had on her heart and mind.
It's exceptionally controversial and to some, but just dumb to others. I was just I was just thinking about how there's these quote unquote freedom rallies in the city that I live in right now. Every once in a while I see them and their message seems quite vague. But I think they feel that they're losing their freedom, and a lot of their signs are about wearing masks. All of them are white, I will say. I'm not going to go into any other demographics, but yeah, I don't know. I just think there's so many better things that you could be protesting. You know, if you're protesting having to wear a mask as your freedom being taken away, then that's really showing your privilege. And what I thought was funny was there's like this rally going on the street, and then a couple blocks up when you're driving towards it, there's a couple men with signs that are saying, "Yay science, yay vaccines, ignorance ignorance lies ahead," or something like that. And I just thought that was funny. So it's so polarizing. But then they've got signs about 5G and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, it doesn't even seem like a
Related?
yeah.
The thing
But
about conspiracy theories that you will find is that once you believe one conspiracy theory, they tend to believe a lot more.
mhm.
Um, and a lot of the times they tend to be Trump supporters as well. There's a weird conglomeration of it. Not saying that all people that uh, supported Trump, for example, also support these other movements, but there seems to be like a pattern to it, which is strange. I think a lot of people are just trying to find and make sense of everything that's happening.
Mhm.
And so I was talking to my friend about this. Is like part of the reason why conspiracy theories have so much ground, especially not all conservative people, but more towards the conservative minded people, is because the conservative mind wants to make order out of everything. And so they think everything must have a reason, or at least there must be something behind why there is a pandemic or why they're making us do this and why they're making us do that. Apart from the simple, like superficial, shallow reason, like, well, it's to protect everyone. They're like, yeah, right. Because why is this all happening? So they try to make sense of it. But part of the problem with that thinking is that um, they don't account for the fact that it's really hard for people to actually organize and make something happen. Like they think that there's a global world new order happening, and that all the elites are getting together and they're working together seamlessly to make these things happen. But human beings are more complicated than that. Like if you
And
look
it's
at
not
any
black and
country,
white, not just this side and this side.
yeah, like most people can't get along. So how do you think these people are going to get along to like coordinate a total global pandemic? Like human beings are not that coordinated, first
Mm.
and foremost.
Yeah, and there's a difference between going like delving into conspiracy theories and like I don't doubt that our government doesn't have all of our best interests at heart. That part I can understand, but then you go to the line of, conspiracy theories and it's just I don't know, it's just frustrating.
The thing though is, I've heard the argument that, oh, well, it's not that we care that much about wearing masks. It's that we'll give them this little inch, and the next time they'll take a mile, and then the next time they'll take our entire freedom. So we have to fight on this ground because otherwise they'll take
Yeah.
everything.
Well, and like, yeah, and just like being told to do something, like feeling like they are having some control taken away. But I don't know, like, sure, again, you could be right about us losing our freedom from the government. And yeah, the pandemic does have negative effects, and us being quarantined does have negative effects. But if there's a chance that by me wearing a mask, I could be protecting someone else, like, I'm going to do it. Sorry, we're going to, same with the vaccine and all that stuff. Like, it's just
Yeah, and trust me, they if there is a global world order, they would want us to get back to normal.
for
Think about it this
capitalism.
way: what would make more sense, to appease the whole public and keep everyone happy so that you can control them better, or make everyone really unhappy
Mm.
so they're all restless? Like, what is a better plan?
Mhm.
Also, if the government is that powerful, what are you going to do about it? Like, chill. And if the world's going to end, the world's going to end. What are you going to do about it? Like, some people, like, I don't get it. Like, what are you going to do when the apocalypse come? You're going to worry about it. So you're going to be worried, but it will come either way.
Mm.
So
Mm.
what is the point of you worrying?
Fenmore would like to give us some updates. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. So by the time this podcast is out, I would have started my new project. I have a new song out. Go check it out. It's called God Have Mercy.
Mm.
And I have a song coming out every week for the rest of the year.
Whoa. All solos songs?
Wait, hold on. I don't know how much I actually want to say right now. I'll edit out what I don't want to say.
Accountability. This is a lot.
Right. All right. So I have a new song out. It's called God Have Mercy. And new songs are going to be coming out pretty much every week. I'm super excited about it. We talked about the 30-day songwriting challenge, and that was really awesome. And now we're moving forward into a new phase. I'm taking my inspiration from the idea that it only takes one song to change your life. So why not try changing my life every week? That's
Nice.
the hook.
Cool.
Okay, so my new song is already out, so you can't pre-save it, but I am releasing a song every week, like I said. So make sure you go follow me, and also pre-save the links to the songs because it actually helps out the artist so much. It's like the difference between a few hundred plays with a few thousand plays when you pre-save the link, and that's not an exaggeration because that happened to me. We are excited about this. So I did talk about how, pre-saving a link is the difference between 100 views or 100 listens and a few thousand listens. And that, I'm not going to lie, it's important. Like, numbers are important for an artist to know that we've made a reach and that people like what we're doing. But at the same time, it's so easy to fall into the trap of getting lost in the numbers and getting trapped by that and valuing only the numbers. And I think that's something that we wanted to talk about today, is how as adults, we tend to only look at numbers in a few different ways. So I was telling Jess about the book I'm reading, which is The Little Prince. You might have heard of it. It's Le Petit Prince. It's a French book. And there's this awesome, awesome passage where the little boy is talking about how adults are obsessed with numbers. Like, they don't ask you, when they ask a little kid, you don't ask a little kid, like, what are your biggest dreams? What do you like? What do you like drawing? Instead, you ask them how old you are. How many friends do you have? What grade are you in? They just want the numbers, he says. And I thought that was such a wonderful sentiment. And also, a little story that he tells is how adults don't care if you say that a house has beautiful flowers, or the bricks are so pretty and it was such a beautiful scene. They wouldn't care at all. But if you told them, oh, that house is worth $1 million, they'd be like, oh, that's so lovely. And that made me think a lot about how we value things in life based
Mhm.
on numbers. And sometimes they are important, but are we missing a lot more behind that? Are we missing life when we're just
Mm.
looking at the digits rather than the organic things of life?
And that can be like any quantitative measurement, I think, of success. Like, doesn't just have to be money or like numbers necessarily,
Or
but
even, yeah,
like
weights for a lot of people.
things, yeah, things you tie like quote unquote success to.
age? How
Probably.
old are you when you're getting successful? Are you too old to be
Yeah.
successful?
Yeah. Like how many of your goals have you accomplished and all this stuff? And it can be overwhelming. And just like money specifically, I was thinking a lot this week about how would my goals be different if money wasn't a factor? So I don't have goals because I don't have a goal to write a book because I want to write a book as a way to make money. But I do have tied into my goals about writing and stuff, the lifestyle that I want to live because I don't want to work for someone else my whole life. But we have to make money. So therefore, my goal has to be something that can also bring me income, right? So it's
Yeah.
interesting. So then it puts that specific type of pressure on like, well, like I could write a book and my goal really to write a book? Because I could write a
Mm,
book and I say, oh, okay, the book's done. Cool. No one needs to read it. Nothing needs to come of it. But will that feel successful to me in this world? Probably not in the same way that it's like, and I should distinguish between it's not about like becoming famous or best selling or whatever. It's like, getting the book in front of people's eyes. And that's kind of the real value of it. But you know what I mean? It's still tied up in
mm,
there. Like it would be cool to be an author, but to be an author, you need to get paid to do that thing so that you can do that thing more. Like
yeah.
very capitalism.
Capitalism. Let's not get. Maybe we'll get into the philosophy of capitalism. But I do want to ask you though. You know that old age question of if money was not a factor. Let's say we are 100 years into the future, and the government is paying everyone a UBI, a universal basic income, which is not a crazy idea because there's this idea that jobs are going to be taken away anyways in the future by AI, and we're going to have to
Mhm.
start, taking care of ourselves in
I
different
don't
ways.
hate it.
But if money was not a factor and you were paid by the government to everything you needed in life, what would you do right now?
Well, I wouldn't be trying to post consistently on social media, probably.
Oh, so that would fall. That would be the first thing to fall away. Like,
Well, I don't know. That's
okay.
like an interesting one. Or I don't think I would try and do it in the way that I think I should do it now. I don't think I don't think my like first focus would be as focused on the social media. I would love to spend my days writing. I would love to spend my days enjoying life and walking and like being outside and traveling and spending time with friends. And I think the biggest thing would be it wouldn't be associated with like guilt. And that's like even
Right.
something I've been trying to do now is like give myself little kind of goal detoxes where it's like, okay, you don't work on your goal sometimes. You just don't. You don't hold yourself accountable, but then you feel guilty about it. So it's just like adding suffering to the situation. So by having like times where it's like, okay, no, I'm not going to work on it on purpose and I'm not going to feel fucking guilty about it either. And I'm just going to enjoy life. And it's been very interesting. I'm way more productive at work when I do that because I do the thing where I'm like, well, I'm working, but like in the back of my mind, I know that like I still have so much to do in this other area of my life, say creative stuff.
Right.
So that I'm not as focused at work. Or when I'm doing creative stuff, I'm like, well, I'm so behind at work. Like I should probably catch up with that. So it's like, I can't compartmentalize that very well, I guess. But,
Right.
anyways, that's my tangent. You? If you got your.
Oh, I would quit this teaching thing in a minute. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just doing this teaching thing. I enjoy it. I do. I enjoy it. Yeah. No. I enjoy interacting with the kids for sure. That's for sure. I enjoy interacting with kids, but it's
Mm,
not my passion in any way. I would focus on
mm,
just creating art, but that's
mm.
something I'm already doing on the side. So,
Yeah.
um,
Okay, I have a question for you. So I have this like idea that I would enjoy posting more if I had more followers because then I would know I have people who I'm talking to and who are there because I have like, 100 and something followers, right?
yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
they're people I know and they do engage and whatever, it's fine. Do you find that that's the case? Because you have like, close to 20,000 followers on TikTok, for example. Has
Yeah.
has that changed like how
Um.
you post?
Yeah. Well, you feel a huge dopamine rush when a video does a little bit better. than another video, right? But like the 20,000 on my TikTok don't really count because I get mostly like 500 views for the most part, max nowadays,
Mm.
and like only the best is like a couple hundred likes or something like that. And so it's not the same. Like on Instagram, you have like people who actually know you, but like
They need to be like engaged
on
followers, not just, yeah.
on TikTok, it's like people follow you off of like one video or something, and then they never see you again
They
because no
never
one
see you.
goes no one goes on their following page. Everyone's on
No.
the For You page. It's a very
Yeah.
different vibe on TikTok, which
Yeah.
is a good thing too because then you can get to you get exposed to a lot of different other people as well. But going
Hmm.
back to your question, absolutely, when people actually engage with your content and more people are, you're more motivated to keep going.
Hmm.
Like it's not, is it shallow? Maybe, but who cares? It's also at some point, it's also a sign when like no one, for me anyways, like, well, it's hard to say that, but like sometimes like maybe if something doesn't do as well, you're like, oh, maybe I should try something different.
Hmm.
Or something does really well, then you're like, oh, people like that for some reason. What can I learn from that? Does that make sense? But then you also
Yeah.
don't want to get stuck in the numbers game, right? Like we
No, like
keep doing that. We're like, what do
what
you
if,
enjoy? What did you like? Yeah.
yeah, what if the favorite video you made like did the worst of all your videos? Like how would that
Makes me so
affect?
sad. I just private it. So embarrassed.
Oh no.
Oh, but also I private things because they're not really most of the time to do with music, and I'm trying to be more consistent with just doing music. And
Yeah.
then I post like really stupid shit, and I'm like, we're really not going on brand here. Like, 'cause it's really hard. Here's the thing that I learned once is like it's really hard to get people to know you for one thing. Like when people
Mm-hmm.
are very simple, they will know you for one thing, and so
Mm-hmm.
if you just focus on that one thing, they'll know, oh, he's that thing. But if you keep doing other different things, you don't, people really don't associate you with anything.
Mm.
And so I'm trying to be very more disciplined. Like today, I just posted another stupid TikTok video, which I probably will private because it has nothing to do with music. Uh,
Just leave it.
no, just trying to like create something consistent.
Yeah.
When people go on
Yeah.
my page, they're like, oh, he does music. Oh, I like this one.
I'll tell you why
Because
after, but
I
go
agree with
ahead.
that because when I go on someone's page and I like something they've done on the For You page and I see they're doing other stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
I lose interest. It's
Yeah.
I do that.
Okay, so I think there's this YouTuber, and I honestly haven't watched much of his stuff, but he seems like a cool guy. I think his channel's called Heinz with a Z, and he's all of a sudden like all over my like homepage of YouTube.
Right.
And well, he wouldn't be all over, but he's on there and recommended. Yeah. So like the first video I saw was like him, like he's like, let's talk about vibes and have some tea or something. And actually his mannerisms in one of his videos reminded me of you in a weird way, like
Really?
not like in a good way.
Oh, is he black?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up. I've
That's
seen him
not
on my
why, but
recommended too.
yeah, it was like the way he moved his hands in one of these
Ah,
things. I was like, oh my God. But he I think he has a video that's like how I grew my following to this numbers in this amount of time or something. But he'd been posting videos for quite a while and just recently all of a sudden is now getting some
yeah.
traction. But he was saying like one of his videos that he really liked or something that he put a lot of effort into got like his least amount of views. And then when he got big because of a different video that he posted and really like when he started to actually try and he's like, you know what, I'm going to make what I like and that's it. And then he's like, you know what, okay, just for this video, I'm going to try and like see if I can like work the algorithm. And it worked. And he did it. And then people went back and that video that had his least amount of views then became the one that had his most amount of views. So people might come across that video that you made and thought was funny, but other people didn't like when they saw it right now. But say
Mm,
you gain some traction later on and people go back, like that could like pop up in
that's true
crazy
as well.
ways because they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, Fenmore, like who is like on the Grammys? Like, did you see this? Well, I mean, if you're at the Grammys at that point, you don't care about the TikTok video success,
Yeah.
but you know.
Oh, can we talk about one thing that I don't value as much anymore?
Mm.
The Grammys.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Do you want to get me started on why I hate the Grammys? You know why
I know
specifically
why you
I
hate the
would hate
Grammys.
the
Yeah,
Grammys.
you know? Yeah. And you see, that's another thing. That's another example of things that we value as a society that really doesn't mean anything. Like one of the biggest artists, we talked about this already, The Weeknd, with one of the biggest songs, Blinding
Mm-hmm.
Lights, not
Mm-hmm.
valued and not at all by this institution. Um,
Yeah.
does that mean his contribution to society was meaningless? No. Like there's so many
Yeah.
people that love The Weeknd and
Yeah.
oh, I'm blinded by the light. So I don't get that song, but
It's just one of those like external factors of success, like you said, like something about the title of being like a millionaire, now like a fucking billionaire, or like,
mm,
or yeah, having X amount of followers, or winning this specific award. Like it's just a quantitative thing that when you reach it, and you hear a lot of people talk about reaching certain, what do you want to call those? I guess just like externally
milestones,
validated milestones,
records.
that it either doesn't feel different, or they're already on the next step ahead. So that now doesn't mean anything, or they just realize
Mm.
it's not as fulfilling as like other things, the real human interaction that you find along the way.
And most of them say that, which
Um,
is funny, like when they reach success, most of them say it. You're right. The funny thing is we don't want to hear them complain. Just shush.
yeah. We're like, enjoy your million, enjoy your
Oh my
trophy.
gosh, is she complaining about not being fulfilled when she has like 5 BMWs?
But if we bring this back to regular folk like ourselves, we can look at this in terms of like, how often are we in the pursuit of something?
Are you valuing what is, or are you valuing what could be? And this happens, for example, like, do you value your boyfriend as being your boyfriend, or do you value him because he's probably going to become your husband and you can't wait for him to be your husband? Or do you
The next
value
thing.
the next thing, right? Do you value what you do right now, or do you value more um what you could be in the future? Like, do you value your art as it is right now and what you're contributing, or you value it only as a means to get somewhere else? In
Mm,
short, like, are you enjoying the house? Like, going back to the little prince story, like, are you enjoying the beauty of the house and its architecture and it's the flowers around it, or are you enjoying more the fact that it costs $1 million?
so that
uh
other
it
people,
can,
but
yeah.
then then other people have to know, and it becomes about, I need other people to know that it's worth this much or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
And if you want to boast and you want to flaunt, that's totally fine. The question though is when that is stripped away, because a lot of
mhm.
the times it will be like, do you still value your life, and do you value the things and the people around you?
Yeah. And that's not to say you can't have things to strive for and have like a
Absolutely not. Yeah.
life that's closer to your dreams that you want to live. But I just keep thinking about how I often create anxiety and guilt in myself because I'm not where I want to be. But getting to where I want to be is not like a one point in time thing. Like where I
Mm-hmm.
want to be when I've accomplished this, this, and this by this age. Okay, well that's fine for that age, but what do I want to be for right now? And like what am I missing out on enjoying because I'm just like, well, I'm not there yet. It's like, well, you're not going to be there for a while, so
Who do you want to
you're going to
be
be happy on
now?
the way. What if you never
Yeah.
get there? That's an interesting exercise, is to kind of think, what if my life didn't change from how it is right now? Would I be happy? Or how would I create happiness?
Remember the podcast we did about what if this is as good as it gets? Would you still be
Mm.
grateful for it?
Ask yourselves that question, everyone. Take that home as your journaling prompt.
And I have homework for you. It's more fun. So if you don't want to do Jess's homework, you can do mine.
Oh,
Go
okay.
watch Soul, because I really want
That's,
to
yeah.
talk about it next week, or at the themes
And
about it.
send me a link if you find a free stream for it.
Well, I'll just find you some way to see it. Like, I really want you to
Yeah.
see it, and I really want to talk about it.
Anyone has a
Um,
Disney Plus account, please comment on YouTube and
yeah, or send her a DM
send me an
on,
email. Send me,
yeah,
yeah, send me a DM.
on Insta. Yeah, but Soul talks about the movie. It's from Disney Plus. It's a Pixar movie. Pixar movies are great, but this one really hit home because it talks about the idea of purpose, a spark, and also the meaning of life and enjoying life. Oh, and the final line of Soul just
I'm so
hit me so
excited.
hard. You have to watch it. It's so good because I really want to talk about it. On that note, however, our sponsor for the day. Are you ready for the sponsor of the day?
Sí.
Our sponsor for the day es
Español.
español.
Ah, bien.
Wow, chicos. ¿Por
Fenmore
qué
y yo
español?
solamente hablo en español por la próxima episodio. If I don't know a word, I just throw an O on the end. I know that's terrible, but
No, 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 muy bien.
sí.
No, ¿por qué
Ah,
español? Porque español es, no sé, es un idioma de pasión.
the language of passion.
Muy bien,
Very
muy
good.
bien. Muchas gracias,
Thank you.
español.
Spanish. Adios, amigos. Gracias. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. I'll be waiting for that Disney Plus login.
Remember, have fun out there.